Hello everyone. I'm just trying to make the camera a little more like even. I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like sometimes I have a hard time getting this tripod to work. I don't know if it's just how I'm using it or if like maybe the balance is off on it. But hi everyone. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys. I want to give you a little bit of a life update, and if you hear anything, Finley is right next to me and he is kind of a little restless right now, so he's actually leaning right up against the tripod, so let me actually slide that over a little bit so he doesn't bump into it too much. But if you hear anything, he's a little restless and he's laying right next to me. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Kieran, and this is a channel where I've shared so many different parts of my life and so many different things that interest me. And today, there, he's just bumped into it. I'm gonna slide it over again. And today I would like to share with you a life update and just give you guys some information on where I've been, sorry. I'm gonna keep on sliding it over because he keeps on like moving closer and closer to the tripod here. If I slide over like that, there we go. It's okay, Finn, you can stay right there. Okay, so today I would like to give you guys a bit of a life update and explain to you where I've been. And really, Finn, he just jumped down. Oh well, now move the tripod back. Okay, so yeah, I would like to give you guys a little bit of a life update and just sort of explain where I've been and just give a bit of a life, like just tell you what's going on. There's a lot of different things that have been happening recently, and I just want to just explain everything. So I was sharing videos pretty consistently like about a month ago, and I was really having a great time with that, and I felt really confident in it. And at the same time, I was going through some stuff that was kind of difficult and different things that I was struggling with. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my health. I'm going to be talking about mental health and physical health, and just giving you guys a little bit of information about what I've been struggling with. I will be talking about my mental health, I will be talking about my physical health, and just sort of give some information about that. So yeah, let's jump right into this video. So I will start with what has been a big change for me recently, and I am going to be talking about my mental health, and I'm not going to be giving all of the details of this particular thing that I'm dealing with right now because I don't have a formal diagnosis at this point. But pretty much I've been really struggling with severe OCD. You guys know that's been something I've been struggling with for a long time, and it never quite felt like the full extent of what I was struggling with. There seemed to be like another component that the OCD just didn't really cover, and I was really struggling with it over the past several months, and I ended up getting really sick, I want to say about 3 months ago, and I was very sick, and it's a lot related to like my mood and just like my emotional state, I guess I could say. And I ended up getting really sick, probably the sickest I've ever been with this like mood swing that I've struggled with. And I was able to talk with my psychiatrist, and we're in the process of exploring an additional diagnosis for me, and which would take into account more of the mood component that I've been struggling with, because the OCD is definitely like, when I feel like when I work with a doctor, like that's like the first thing that's like right in their face. OCD definitely is something I'm struggling with, but this additional mood component is something that has always been a part of what I've struggled with, but the OCD kind of was like overshadowing that, if that makes sense. And so it didn't really make sense fully with my providers until this most recent issue that I had. And I would like to share more about that with you guys at some point. I just don't have a formal diagnosis yet. We're in the process of that. And my psychiatrist has explained to me that sometimes diagnosing mood disorders is a little tricky because it can take a while for you to see everything, for them to see everything, because a lot of the times when you are struggling with something and you visit the doctor about that particular thing, you only visit them with one component of that issue and not like the whole thing. So it's a little trickier to diagnose because of that. So my psychiatrist explained that it will take a little bit longer, but that he believes it's likely this one thing. So I've been trying a new medication for that particular issue, and I know I'm being vague. I'm trying to do this in the most delicate way possible, the way that makes me feel most comfortable talking with you guys. And I do feel comfortable talking with you guys. I just want to wait until I have like a formal diagnosis and I learn more about this particular thing, before I really get into that with you guys, because I want to make sure I'm as educated as I can be about it. So I am trying a new medication for this particular struggle that I'm having with my mood. And I've been on this medication for, I want to say, about 3 weeks now. And it definitely was a huge adjustment for me, because this medication makes you really, really sleepy. And it made me very, very sleepy when I first started taking it. Like, oh my gosh, I was just exhausted constantly. But my body has started to adjust to it, and I'm so grateful for that, because I was just exhausted all the time. But I'm trying this new medication. I'm sort of working with my therapist and working on specific strategies and ways to help me handle this particular disorder that they're thinking that I might be struggling with, in addition to the OCD. So I'm hopeful that this is sort of like the combination of diagnoses that make sense for what I'm dealing with, because not that I want to have multiple diagnoses, is that the plural? Diagnoses. But I want to feel like what I'm struggling with is being fully understood. And the mood component of what I've been struggling with has always been a huge, huge part of my life, and something that has been a huge challenge for me. But the OCD was always like right there in front, being like, hey, this is OCD, like, let's work on this first. And now that I've been getting more in control of my life with my struggles with OCD, with medication, with psychiatrist prescribed medication treatment, it's almost like this other mood component was able to be like, okay, now let's explore this and how we can handle this a little bit better. So I'm grateful for, like, I'm not grateful that I got really sick, but at the same time, I'm grateful that I was able to sort of having like treatment for OCD in place and everything. I'm grateful that I was able to sort of see the mood component as itself in its own space, if that makes sense. And when I talked with my psychiatrist and my therapist, they were like, okay, let's explore a little bit more, that maybe something else is going on, which I never really thought of. Like, I knew that I was struggling with something else in relation to mood, but I never really, I just thought it was who I was, I guess, if that makes sense. It's the same thing with the OCD. I thought so often that who I was is the person that I was how am I trying to say it? That me struggling with OCD wasn't OCD, it was just who I was as a person. And that was really hard to handle and to wrap my head around, because it makes you feel not great, you know, to think that this struggle that you may be experiencing with mental health is who you are as a person. And I dealt a lot with that, and confidence and self-esteem because of that. And so once I was able to separate myself from the OCD, I felt better, but I still felt like there was something else that wasn't being fully addressed. And this most recent time when I got sick, it definitely showed its ugly face. And by ugly face, I mean really, really ugly face. And once I explain everything to you guys, once I have a formal diagnosis, I will definitely talk with you guys more about it. But yeah, I'm grateful. I don't want to say I'm grateful because it happened that I was really, really sick, but I'm grateful in a sense that I had all of these supports in place when this happened, so that I had a therapist to call, a psychiatrist to call, different organizations, mental health organizations that are able to help with these things. And I felt very supported in the process, even though I felt terrible when I was really, really sick. I am so happy that, in a sense, that this happened when I had such a big support team. And of course, Sean, absolutely huge, amazing help. My sisters, Keely and Courtney, huge, amazing help. My mom, my dad, everybody, my aunts, my uncles, every single person, my friends. I feel like I'm like listing everybody. I'm really grateful that I'm on the other side of figuring out this additional component of my journey into learning more about my mental health. And yeah, so I'm sorry it's vague. I want to have more information I want to have the formal diagnosis first. Right now, it's that my psychiatrist is saying it's a likely diagnosis, but I want the formal diagnosis first from the psychiatrist. And I want to be able to educate myself more before I share more with you guys. So if you're struggling with mental health concerns, I want you to know that I'm here for you. I know it's a hard journey, but you're not alone, and don't be afraid to reach out to people like mental health organizations that can provide you support. Seriously, they're absolutely amazing. I've worked with so many amazing people, and there are great resources that can provide you help during this struggle. So the first part of this video was me sharing what I've been struggling with my mental health. And now I would like to share with you what I've been struggling with in regard to my physical health. So I have been struggling with something with my sinuses. So if talk about sinuses and like your nose and throat type stuff bothers you, you feel free. You do not have to watch this part of the video, but so I started this new medication, and I was struggling with feeling really tired and just adjusting to the medication. And so I was kind of just struggling with that. And then a couple weeks ago, I had a bit of a scratchy feeling in the back of my throat, and I was like, okay, I'm getting sick. So then a couple days later, I completely lost my sense of taste and smell, which I thought was very odd. I was like, okay, I don't know what is causing this lack of taste and smell. This is just unusual for me, because I had the scratchy feeling in my throat, but I wasn't really coughing. I wasn't congested. I didn't really know what was going on. Then a couple days later, I started to feel like pressure in the right side of my face, and I was like, okay, this must be a sinus infection. And I actually, a few years ago, I don't know if I even ever told you guys about it, I had an MRI of my brain, an MRI of my head, not just my brain, but like my head and my face and my brain. And so when they did that MRI, they found that I have cysts, fluid-filled cysts in my sinuses. And I will include a picture here of what it looks like. I got the results of that MRI, and they at first, what exactly happened? I was going to be set up with an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I can't even remember exactly what happened, but somebody said they thought it was a really bad sinus infection that I was struggling with, but then the ear, nose, and throat doctor called me when they were getting ready to set up my appointment, and they were like, no, this is not an infection that you have. And I went to the ENT, and I was able to find out that I have fluid-filled cysts in my sinus, like my sinus cavities, I guess you could say. The one on the right, as you can see, is huge. The one on the left is a lot smaller, and so what the doctor did at that time, he told me there are a few options of what you can do, and one of them was surgery to remove the cyst itself, because if you don't remove the cyst, it can just fill back up again. And another option was just to leave it and let it see what happened on its own. But then the final option, which is what I ended up choosing, was removing some of the fluid during a procedure, an outpatient procedure at the office, which is what I ended up choosing to do. And I got a lot of relief from that. I did that, I want to say, in like 2020 or so, 2019 maybe. And they removed a lot of fluid, and it wasn't infected or anything. So the doctor said, but let's just see how it goes. Sometimes they never fill back up. Sometimes they fill up really quickly. And if it fills back up, we're probably going to have to do surgery and remove the cyst, like the pouch itself. Sorry if this is grossing you guys out, but this has really made me not feel great over the past few weeks. So back to what has been happening recently. So I want to say that week, it was like, I started not feeling great that Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, still not feeling great, had no taste or smell. And then Monday, Tuesday, I started getting pressure in my face. And Tuesday, I want to say, into Wednesday of that week, I got the most excruciating pain in my right cheek that, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. I've had sinus infections before. This pain was 1,000 times that. My teeth were aching, my eye was aching, everything was aching in my face. If I even touched my cheek gently, it hurt. I couldn't chew. That one night was really bad. I woke up in the middle of the night, and it just all through here just hurt so bad. I even asked Sean to go get me an ice pack because I couldn't even get up. It just hurt so bad. and I ended up almost passing out because of the pain in my face. Like when I stood up, it's almost like the pressure kind of moved a little bit during the middle of the night, and I stood up and like I got that like feeling like I was gonna pass out, but I didn't. And it was just awful, awful. And then the next day I started, it's really gross. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to share with you guys, because let's just say there was relief the next day because something popped, if that makes sense. So pretty much the cyst, I'm pretty sure, ruptured at that point and released part of the fluid, because this is really gross. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've never talked to you guys about stuff like this before, but it's real life. So I was having a fluid draining out of my nose pretty much on that right side. And it was this relief, like, you know when like you go swimming, or when you, like if you're swimming and you feel like the pressure of the water, like if you're underwater, you feel the pressure. That's kind of what it felt like, but almost like that same sensation of like if you're swimming, you accidentally get water up your nose. Like it was kind of like that too. So I started feeling this relief in my face. I was like, oh my goodness, this, like, I feel so much better. But like my nose was like dripping this fluid. And I know from seeing the fluid before that was from the cyst. So in my head, I was like, oh great, this thing filled back up. So I called my ENT. They were able, luckily, to get me in the next day, and he was able to look, and he used a scope to look in my sinus cavity to see what was going on. And he said pretty much that the cyst itself was infected. And I had an acute sinus infection of this cyst in my face. So I'm just now finishing the antibiotic. I think I took the last one yesterday. I feel 1,000 times better. But like when he scoped my nose to look and see what was going on, he was like, yeah, you've got a nasty infection in there. And I'm telling you, like, it hurt so bad. We almost went to the ER that one night because the pain was just unbearable. But then like all of a sudden it felt like almost like you were in an airplane, you know what I mean? Your ears pop, kind of like that, but like in my face. So he pretty much told me at that time, said we need to do a CT scan, I think that's what it's called, and see the status of the cyst now. The one on the left is obviously much smaller. As you can see in that picture, it's a much smaller cyst than the one on the right. But the one on the right just seems to have a mind of its own, honestly. And so we're gonna do a CT to see the status of the cyst. And he said, more likely than not, I'm probably going to have surgery to remove the pouch, because he said it's just going to keep filling up. Like if it has filled up, he said it's probably just going to keep filling up. And I'm just going to have to, you know, have the pouch removed to make it so that it can't fill up anymore, because it's kind of like, it's like if, you know, if the pouch is there, then the fluid has a place to go and get stuck. If the pouch is not there, then the fluid doesn't have anywhere to go and it won't get stuck in that anymore. That's my basic non-ear, nose, and throat doctor understanding of it. But he was super helpful, he's a great doctor. He always takes everything I say very seriously. And so I'm gonna have the CT at some point, I'm not quite sure when, and probably have to have surgery to remove the pouch. Blech. I'm not looking forward to that. I've had my tonsils removed. I've had my gallbladder removed. So I've had a couple like minor surgeries, but I've heard that the recovery process on this is kind of difficult. So hopefully I'll be able to schedule it for when I'm not in school so that I won't have to take time off of work. But I'm grateful that I was able to get in so quickly, because the one person I called, they thought they wouldn't have an appointment for like several months. And then I called back a little later and the person was like, oh my gosh, we have a cancellation for tomorrow, so you can come in tomorrow morning, which was, I was so grateful for that. So all of that to say, I had this really terrible pain in my face, but it's feeling much better now. And there's a plan for me moving forward to see exactly what we are going to need to do to figure out how to fix this issue. So those are like the two main things I've been struggling with lately. And I just took a break from YouTube and social media because I just wasn't feeling great. I was feeling really tired from getting used to this medication, and my face hurt from this infected sinus cyst. So I'm feeling much better now, and I'm excited to start sharing with you guys again because it's been so long. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the video schedule that I shared before. I was sharing videos like every day, which I'm like, am I able to continue doing that? We'll have to find out. But I did make a tentative schedule so I could share different videos with you guys every day. And I'm hoping to get back into that because I definitely had fun doing that. So let me know what you think. What kind of videos would you like to see? I have some DIY videos planned, some vlog style videos planned, some teaching videos, retro review videos, so many different things that I'd like to share with you. And I'm just so grateful I'm feeling better. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I have the links to those accounts below. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.